Hello. Okay. Excuse my hair. It's been in a bun for 2 days and I tried to straighten it. And this is what we got. But I don't really know where to start with this video. I feel like I have always said that my reason for going into like fitness or going to the gym was just because I was a gymnast, and that is part of like the truth, but I've had a very deep story of why, but I've just never wanted to share it. But it's not that I never wanted to share it, I just felt like I wasn't ready to. But a lot of what I post is about being yourself and being able to share who you are without judgment from others, and feeling confident in who you are and not worrying about what other people think. And I feel like after years of posting stuff like that and getting my account to where it is and feeling how I feel, I'm ready to kind of just explain the longer story behind all this. And mainly I want to share it just because it has to do with a lot about mental health and being okay with not being okay, if that makes sense. So I want to be able to share it, and hopefully some of you, if you are going through something like this or have and don't feel like it's okay to share it, it is. There's always people that are going to be there to listen. I'm very thankful because I have a family that was there for me and always have been, always will be. So I'm going to explain this the best I can. So let's just get into this, because I don't really know where to start or how long it's going to be, but it's a story and a half. Okay, so growing up, I was always bullied. And like, when I say always, I mean from the moments I can remember in school, going from like grade 1 with like my probably the latest memory would be grade 1, and then every year from then on. And I was just picked on, I was teased, just because I was me. I was always never afraid to be myself. And so I would show up to school in the funkiest, most colorful outfits, like tutus, rainbow socks, leggings under my tutus with socks over them, like the craziest outfits that made me feel like me. And I was always bullied for it. I was made fun of. I was the weird kid. I would never go back and change it though. I love how that was now when I look back. It just sucked then for the most part. And it got to the point where like in grade 5 I would get tripped up the stairs, and then grade 6 I don't really think anything happened for the most part. Grade 7 I started to make some friends, and then once again I wasn't part of the cool crowd. So every time one of my friends would become friends with the other groups, I would get shut out. And so by the time I finished junior high, I had no friends. And I went into high school with nobody. I had one girl that was a pretty good friend, and I would have said she was my best friend for a long time. And she, once again, like everybody else, as soon as she became friends with people that didn't like me, I was the one that got shut out. So through all this time, I was a gymnast. That is why my whole go-to answer is always, oh, I went into fitness because I was a gymnast. But the reason that gymnastics was so important to me was it was something I loved doing, but it was my escape. So I would go from being tortured at school and feeling like there was nothing worth, like I was worth nothing, and like I had nothing that was there for me and that cared about me, to go into gymnastics, to a place where I had the most amazing friends, a coach that understood everything we went through and was always there for us, to feeling happy. And then every single day I did that, and I was a gymnast for, I want to say probably like 12 years. So that is it makes sense why I say that gymnastics is the reason I got into fitness, because that was what I did for like 12 years of my life, to be in my happy place. So when I was 14, I was competing, and it was my first P4 competition. So if you don't know what that means, it's like there's P1 to 5, and then it's like the national level and then Olympic level and all that stuff. My camera might die. So I got to P4, and I was on my second event, and I did a flip on the beam, missed my foot, and I fractured my knee. So from that day on, I wasn't able to compete again. I only ever could do events that were like hands only. I couldn't do like vault and tumbling really that much because it hurt my knee, and my knee never healed properly. So I found out I fractured my knee 6 months after I fractured it. It was fractured for that long, and I didn't know it was fractured, so I was still trying to train and do all my stuff on it. So by the time I was like 16, my coach, she had met a guy and she was moving really far away because he's an RCMP officer, so they had to go to like their post or whatever for like the 4 years. So when she decided she was leaving, my whole group basically decided we were done with gymnastics. So I ended up quitting my happy place. So I had basically had to quit gymnastics, and I think I was in grade 11, and this was the hardest year literally I've ever been through, because when I started grade 11, I had no friends, and I basically just went to school to go to my classes, and then I would leave the moment the bell rang and come probably late because I didn't want to be around people. And about halfway through the first semester of grade 11, I got bullied so bad to the point where I was sitting in math class and I had received a bunch of messages about things that were being said about me and how I was being treated. And I was in my class and my teacher turned around to the board to write something, and I was in the back corner of the room by the door, and I grabbed all my books and I left in the middle of that class as soon as he wasn't looking, and I never went back. I finished my courses through the office, so if the classes started, I came like 20 minutes after they started, did my schooling, and I left 20 minutes before they ended, so I never had to run into the people that were doing that to me in the hallway. And that was the same point in my life that I had to quit gymnastics. Or I didn't have to, but I did, because I didn't want to be with a different coach that didn't understand, because that was my happy place. So in that time frame, the main reason I actually started going to the gym was because, I don't know if anybody knows what Ask FM is, but it was the stupidest app where you could ask people anonymous questions, or you could say things to people. So like guys would do it and be like, oh my god, you're so pretty, because they were too scared to like say it to your face or show who they actually were. And I opened it one day and I had a message in there that said, you should just kill yourself, nobody would ever care that you were gone or even notice. It was pretty much that time that I realized that I needed something to be an escape or a happy place. And I very quickly learned that going to the gym and the way I could control change how my body looked and how I felt was my happiness, because I had full control over how I felt and how I was treating myself, that the way other people treated me didn't matter anymore. So I started going to the gym when I was 16, I think. I was 16 years old, I think, and because I could drive to the gym, and I went every single day. And so I started overlapping. Before I had quit gymnastics, I would go to the gymnastics and I would train for 4 hours, and I would go to the gym after that for about an hour to an hour and a half to work out. That is how bad my mind space was and how bad people treated me, to show how much I needed an escape. And I'm honestly, at this point, I'm very, very grateful I went through all that, because I wouldn't be how I am today, and I wouldn't post and promote a lot about mental health and being okay to not be okay if I didn't go through all that. But basically, when I started going to the gym, I was skinny. I was a skinny, short, not short, I was tall and skinny, and I was just really strong from being a gymnast, but I wasn't like built or jacked. So I was made fun of because I was skinny. And I had a little baby bubble butt, because I always had a little bubble, but it was never big enough. So it was like, oh, you have no butt. You don't look like this. Your arms are bigger than all the guys. And then it started being, I got bullied for how I looked because I started going to the gym. But I also could outlift most of the guys, and then it was just like, I got bullied because I was strong and I was manly. But it made me happy, and it's put me to where I am today. So, I mean, thanks for everybody that tortured me when I was younger, because I'm great now. But it was a gong show. And so basically when I was in grade 12, this was after I had to switch high schools because I wouldn't go back to that school after everything I went through. So I switched schools. It didn't get better because it was the same county area that I went to a different school in, so everybody knew what happened. And because I stood up for myself at the first school, and I got pretty much all the people that bullied me suspended, and it was a gong show. Because I did that, I was the snitch. So when I went to the new school, nobody liked me because of that. But I went to school and I literally got the credits I needed to graduate, like barely, because I went to the classes I needed to have on my final thing. I never took any extra classes, and I graduated high school, and I honestly hated every moment of it. But when I was in the end of grade 12, I was dating a guy, and his mom was a guidance counselor, so she helped me kind of figure out what I wanted to do and help me understand what I needed to get into that program. So basically in the middle of grade 12, I signed up for open studies at NATE, and that means just taking courses. You're not actually enrolled in a program. So what I did was I took every single course that was in the program I wanted to take through open studies, so I could take my bio, because I had to take bio 20 and 30 after I graduated high school, because I wouldn't take them in high school because that meant more time at the school. So I took all these courses, and I went to NATE for a year doing that, and at the end of the year I managed to get accepted into my program, which was a big accomplishment for me, because I just felt like I was never going to do anything, since basically that's what people told me growing up, was that you were never gonna get anything or go anywhere unless daddy bought it for you, daddy gave it to you, just because of where my family is. So that was a big step, was going in my own direction. And then that was the time I actually started my fitness account on Instagram. So it was 2016. And then, so I did a year of open studies. I went into my program. I did 2 years of the program to get my diploma, which I graduated last year in 2019 for. And honestly, that was a gong show too, because I feel like I still wasn't strong enough in a mental health way to feel like I could do it. So I was draining myself of energy all the time, because I was I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And then I would go and I'd pass my test, or I'd pass my exam, and I'd be like, okay, so I could do it. And then it would go on repeat for 2 years straight. And when I graduated from NATE, walking the stage, I honestly had a straight face. I know I looked terrifying walking across the stage, because I was just dead, but inside me I was jumping around like crazy, because I never thought I'd get to that point. I never thought I'd even graduate high school, let alone go to college and graduate college and get a diploma in something that I love. So I got my diploma that day, and I'm gonna post, I'll put over the screen right now, the picture difference between when I graduated high school versus when I graduated from NATE. You can see in my smile how much happier I am and how much I changed my mental health around, because high school me was fighting hard to be even remotely happy, versus when I graduated from NATE, that's the happiest I've ever been. So the reason I got into fitness and why I go to the gym is because my mental health needed it, and it ended up being a saving grace, because not only did it help change my mindset around and help me mentally, but it gave me a career that I absolutely love and that I wouldn't change for a single second. And it's the reason I like sharing stuff like this is because so many people think they can't share a bad situation or being in a dark place because you get judged because you're like, oh, like there's something mentally wrong with you. No, you can share, you can post, you can say whatever you want about whatever you've went through. There's always going to be somebody that supports it that's going to be there for you and that won't ever judge you for things you've gone through. And now when I look back from the place I am now, I have never been happier. I've never been in a stronger mental state. I literally could not have a single thing happen to me right now that would tear me apart and push me back to where I've ever been. I will never go back to that point. I have family that is the most amazing people I could ever ask for, that are always there for me. And I'm honestly beyond grateful for how much torture I went through growing up, because I wouldn't be where I am now, and I wouldn't have this career, and I wouldn't even have probably graduated high school. I wouldn't have graduated from NAIT. I wouldn't have been me, because I've never been more me than I am now. So I'm grateful for what I went through. I hate that I had to go through it to get to this point, because it does leave like a mental scar and a lot of it sticks around forever. But if anybody knows the tattoo I have on my thigh, it says, "The very thing that holds you down is going to lift you back up." I got that the day I turned 18 years old, because that was my thing I was gonna have forever, that when I got to this point, I can look back at every person that tried to hold me down and that did hold me down for so long and just be like, look at me now, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, that's my why. It was a lot to go through, but I wouldn't change it for a single thing. So I hope y'all like this video. I hope you're able to share your story, or even just reach out to somebody if you ever need help. So yeah, I'm very thankful for what I went through. I'm very thankful for my family, my parents that not only were there when I wanted to drop out of school, and that I did kind of drop out and stopped going, they pushed me to go back to a different school. They pushed me to go follow my dream to go to NAIT, and they've never not supported me. And now we're on to the next new adventure in a few months, and they're standing by me to support me. So yeah, that's a lot. I never thought I'd share this story. Whew. Wow. I cried, but it's happy tears, because I'm very happy with where I'm at, and I'm happy I went through everything I did, and that's all I have to say. I hope y'all have the best freaking day ever. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave comments below if you want to share, you want to talk, say anything, and don't forget to subscribe so y'all don't miss any more videos with me. And I'm out. That was a lot to talk about. Whew.